Hey fam, how y'all doing today? Welcome back to History Highlights with Laney. In this video, we will highlight how the first enslaved Africans arrived in Jamestown. Thanks to those that have donated to my channel, and thanks to those that will donate to my channel.
On August 20th, 1619, 20 and odd Angloans kidnapped by the Portuguese arrive in the British colony of Virginia and are then bought by English colonists. The arrival of the enslaved Africans in the New World marks a beginning of 2.5 centuries of slavery in North America. Founded at Jamestown in 1607, the Virginia colony was home to about 700 people by 1619. The first enslaved Africans to arrive in Virginia disembarked at Point Comfort in what is known today as Fort Monroe. Most of their names, as well as the exact number who remained at Point Comfort, have been lost to history, but much is known about their journey. They were originally kidnapped by Portuguese colonial forces who sent captured members of the native Congo Kingdom on a forced march to the port of Luanda, the capital of modern-day Angola. From there, they were ordered on the ship San Juan Bautista, which set sail for Veracruz in the colony of New Spain. As was quite common, about 150 of the 350 captives aboard the ship died during the crossing. Then, as it approached its destination, the ship was attacked by two privateer ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer. Crews from the two ships kidnapped up to 60 of the Batista's enslaved people. It was the White Lion which docked at Virginia's Colony Point Comfort and traded some of the prisoners for food on August 20th, 1619. Scholars note that the arrivals were technically sold as indentured servants. Indentured servants agreed, or in many ways were forced, to work with no pay for a set amount of time, often to pay off a debt, and could legally expect to become free at the end of their contract. Many Europeans who arrived in the Americas came as indentured servants. Despite the classification in records which indicate that some of them did eventually obtain their freedom, it is clear that the Africans arriving at Point Comfort in 1619 were forced into servitude and that they fit the Universal Declaration of Human Rights' definition of enslaved people. The arrival at Point Comfort marked a new chapter in the history of the transatlantic slave trade, which began in the early 1500s and continued into the mid-1800s. The trade uprooted roughly 12 million Africans, depositing roughly 5 million in Brazil and over 3 million in the Caribbean. Though the number of Africans brought to the mainland North America was relatively small, roughly 400,000, their labor and that of their descendants was crucial to the economies of the British colonies and later the United States. Two of the Africans who arrived aboard the White Lion, Antonio and Isabella, became servants of Captain William Tucker, commander of Point Comfort. Their son, William, is the first known African child to have been born in America, and under the law of the time, he was born a free man. In the coming decades, however, slavery became codified. Servants of African origin were oftentimes forced to continue working after the end of their contract, and in 1640, a Virginia court sentenced rebellious servant John Punch to a lifetime of slavery. With fewer white indentured servants arriving from England, a racial caste system developed, and African servants were increasingly held for life. In 1662, a Virginia court ruled that children born to enslaved mothers were the property of the mother's owner. As cash crops like tobacco, cotton, and sugar became pillars of the colonial economy, slavery became its engine. Though the slave trade was outlawed in 1807, chattel slavery and the plantation economy it made possible flourished in the South. The 1860 census found that there were 3,953,760 enslaved people in the United States, making up roughly 13% of the total population. The conflict between abolitionists and those who wanted to preserve and spread slavery was a major catalyst in the outbreak of the Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln formally freed enslaved people in the South with the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, although it was not until the passage of the 13th Amendment in 1865 that slavery was formally abolished in the United States. In the end, 246 brutal years of slavery had an incalculable effect on American society. It would take another century after the Civil War for racial segregation to become declared unconstitutional, but the end of state-sanctioned racism was by no means the end of racism and discrimination in America. Because it became a crucial part of the culture and economy of early America after its introduction in Jamestown, slavery is often referred to as the nation's original sin.
So, there you have it. A little bit of history on how the first enslaved Africans arrived in Jamestown. Be well, stay safe, and stay in peace, not pieces. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you will know every time I upload a video. Word of the year, forward, forward, forward. Love y'all, fam. See you soon.